The relationship between the virgin in Revelation chapter 12 and the harlot Babylon in chapter 17. Revelation chapter 12. Apostle John saw in a vision a woman giving birth to Christ and the ascension of Christ. In that vision, Satan at the time of the birth of Christ and the early church was symbolically depicted as a crimson dragon, Satan, with 7 heads adorned with 7 crowns and 10 horns. The woman who gave birth to Christ flees to the wilderness to avoid persecution, and she is nurtured and protected by certain individuals for 1,260 days. Before the protection period begins, the infuriated Satan yells, "Hey, won't you get lost?" and spews water from his mouth in a massive torrent, trying to sweep the woman away. However, the earth where the woman is standing opens its mouth and swallows up the water, leaving Satan furious and exclaiming, "Ah, this is infuriating! Ah!" In his rage, he changes his strategy, musing with a smirk, Hey, I just need to selectively kill those who diligently follow the 10 Commandments and have strong faith in Jesus. Planning to change his tactics. In the New Testament Gospels, while Jesus was in the midst of giving a sermon, his mother Mary and his brothers came to see him. But Jesus continued with his sermon, seemingly without paying attention to them. When the audience informed him that his mother had arrived, Jesus responded, "Who is my mother? You all are my mother," he said. The audience who were listening to Jesus' sermon later evolved to form the church. Hence, it can be inferred that the church is akin to the virgin who gave birth to Christ. This means that the church will be protected for a period of 1,260 days. And although Satan attempts to destroy the church, he fails in his endeavor. Then, what does the flood from Satan's mouth represent? In Revelation chapter 17, many waters are described to signify nations. The flood that comes out of Satan's mouth represents the various nations under Roman rule. And initially, they try to destroy the church under the orders of the Roman emperor, but later they repent and join the church. This would be a fitting interpretation. Hasn't this actually unfolded in history, as seen with the recognition of Christianity by the Roman Emperor Constantine in 313 AD? Revelation chapter 17. Led by an angel, Apostle John went back to the wilderness and saw that the woman who gave birth to Christ was no longer there, replaced by a massive prostitute sitting on a large body of water. The prostitute was mounted on a crimson-colored monster. Just like Satan, the monster had 7 heads and 10 horns, and its skin was also crimson. Written on the woman's forehead was a name that read, "It's a mystery. It's the Great Babylon, the mother of the harlots and the abominations of the earth." This woman was mounted on the monster's 7 heads. Note this, dressed in purple and crimson robes adorned with gold, jewels, and pearls, and holding a golden cup in her hand, she was intoxicated with the blood of the saints and the martyrs of Jesus. Seeing her, John was greatly puzzled and astonished. If this woman was the Jewish Sanhedrin or the Roman Empire, there would be no need to be greatly puzzled and astonished, since their persecution was a daily occurrence for John. Yes, it is a mystery, an inexplicable event. It's an astonishment that stems from wondering how this could happen. It is simple to understand. The woman who gave birth to Christ, in other words, the church, had become corrupt, transforming into the Great Babylon. The angel said to John, "This fallen woman is a massive city ruling the world, and the 7 heads she is mounted on represent 7 hills and 7 kings." In Rome, the capital of the Roman Empire and Italy, there are 7 hills. Thus, the 7 heads represent the capital of the Roman Empire, Rome. The person who turned Jerusalem into a sea of flames, erasing every trace of it, was General Titus, the 7th emperor of Rome. The failure of the Satan adorned with 7 heads in trying to drown the virgin church with a flood unleashed from its mouth symbolizes the failure of the Christian persecution by the Roman Empire. And the land where the virgin resides, swallowing up the flood that came from Satan's mouth, indicates that the people of the Roman Empire eventually came to believe in Christianity. Therefore, the fallen woman mounted on those 7 hills of Rome signifies the corruption of the Roman Church. The official title of the Pope is Bishop of the Roman Church. The official name of the Vatican in Catholicism is also the Roman Church, or the Universal Church of Rome. But note that this woman is called the Great Babylon. Not just Babylon or a lesser Babylon, but the Great Babylon. According to Isaiah chapter 13 in the Old Testament, the Babylonian Empire is prophesied to receive God's punishment, becoming a desolate land forever, turning into a ghost city. Indeed, that prophecy has come true. Therefore, the Great Babylon in Revelation chapter 17 has no relation at all with the ancient Babylonia. It means that it is a mysterious Great Babylon that surpasses the ordinary Babylon. The correct interpretation of the 7 heads of the beast in Revelation 13 and 17. It was said that the 7 heads of the beast are the 7 hills, and on them sits a great city that rules the world. At the same time, the 7 heads are also 7 kings. 5 have fallen, 1 remains, and another has not yet come. But when he does come, he will only remain for a little while. The beast that was, but is not, and yet will appear again, is one of these 7 heads, but comes as the 8th king. When considering this as a whole, the kindergarten-like interpretations of some people who equate the 7 heads to G7 does not make sense. It was said that 5 have fallen, 1 remains, and another has yet to come, and will remain only briefly. But what exactly are the 5 nations from the G7 that have collapsed? Moreover, even if they had collapsed, they are still ongoing, so they haven't really collapsed. Anyway, equating G7 to the 7 heads doesn't make sense. Moreover, considering the context written, it alludes to kings who are successively crowned in a single location. It doesn't give the impression of 7 individually independent nations appearing sequentially as time passes, nor does it give the impression of 7 individually independent nations crowded closely together in a single conference room, and it mentioned kings, not kingdoms. The beast itself is already a king and at the same time signifies a kingdom, as mentioned in Daniel chapter 7. Therefore, in the absence of any other explanations, it is appropriate to associate the 7 heads attached to the beast with 7 successor kings who inherit the founders, the beast's kingdom. It is not permissible to forcibly fit in Assyria, Babylon, Egypt, Persia, Greece, Rome, the EU, or the USA, or a world government like Peter Ruckman, Hal Lindsey, or Schofield do. Doing so makes no sense because the Median Empire is missing, and the Seleucid Empire is missing. Plus, the Philistines are missing, the Hittites are missing, and Sumer and Akkad are also missing. There is something inconsistent, and there is no accurate rule. The Frankish kingdom is missing, and the Holy Roman Empire is missing too. The beast already has the mouth of a lion, the feet of a bear, and the body of a leopard, indicating that Assyria, Babylon, Persia, and Greece have already been used up. There is a theory that the lion represents King Darius of Media, who is actually Cyaxares II, the son of Astyages of Media, in the book of Daniel. So if it's correct to say that King Darius of Media became the king of Babylon, and if it's right that the bear symbolizes King Darius of Persia, who seized power from Media, and if the leopard represents Alexander the Great, the conqueror of Greece, the 7 heads represent the 7 hills of Rome. So the 7 heads are Rome itself. Why are they agonizingly forcing in Assyria, Babylon, Persia, and Greece again as a duplicate in the 7 heads? The 7 kings, 5 have fallen, 1 is, and the other has not yet come. But when he does come, he must remain only a little while. This statement itself gives the feeling of a progression from the first to the second, to the fifth, to the sixth, and to the seventh. The 7 hills are not symbolic, but literally refer to the geographical feature of a location where a large city that rules the world is situated. This points to the 7 hills of Rome, the capital of Italy. Then, the large city that reigns over the top of it is either Rome or the Church of Rome. The Vatican is located in the neighborhood right next to Rome, and although the Vatican has its own separate small hill, the official name of the Vatican is the Church of Rome. It stands above the Roman Empire and rules over Italy, governed by the pontificate. The official title of the Pope is the Bishop of Rome, which means the Bishop of the Church of Rome. Thus, we can identify that the great city, the great Babylon that rules the world, is the Church of Rome. The 7 hills are not in the Vatican, but in Rome, the capital of Italy. And right next to it is the Hill of the Vatican. Catholic believers argue trivially that the Vatican, which isn't on the 7 heads, in other words, isn't on the 7 hills, cannot be the great harlot Babylon. But they are lying knowingly. If you look at the Italian Wikipedia entries for Papa and Diocese of Rome and the English Wikipedia entry for Pope, as well as the Catholic Dictionary entry for Church of Rome, the official name for the Catholic Church is the Church of Rome, and the official title of the Pope is the Bishop of Rome. This Bishop of Rome refers to the Bishop of the Church of Rome, or the Diocese of Rome. The papacy originally started from the Church of Rome. The prophecy that on top of the 7 hills sits the great city, the harlot, that rules the world implies that the church situated in Rome becomes corrupt and rules the world. In 756 AD, when the Frankish king Pepin donated a significant amount of land in Italy, including Rome and Ravenna, to Pope Stephen II, thus founding the Papal States, the entirety of the capital of Italy, Rome, became the land of the Pope. This is referred to as the Papal States. Although now, apart from the Vatican, everything has been taken over by the Republic of Italy, the Pope is still the Bishop of Rome, and the Vatican Catholic Church continues to refer to themselves as the Church of Rome, or the Roman Catholic Church. This implies that the Roman Catholic Church considers itself the only universal and unique church, and claims to be the owner of the immovable assets of the Apostle Peter in Rome and Italy. Now, the important thing here, if you look at Revelation chapter 12, how is Satan depicted at the time of the birth, resurrection, and ascension of Christ? He appears as a red dragon with 7 heads adorned with 10 horns, and the 7 heads are equipped with 7 crowns. The true founder of the Roman Empire was Julius Caesar. However, Julius Caesar was not formally crowned as an emperor, but lived as a dictator and was ultimately assassinated. Nevertheless, his name, Caesar, became a title for subsequent Roman emperors. Thus, he can symbolize the body of the satanic red dragon, being the founder of the Roman Empire and the 0th emperor. At the time of the birth of Jesus Christ, the first emperor was Augustus, and the 5th Roman emperor, Nero, committed suicide, but his fatal wound did not heal, and the whole world did not worship him. The 7th emperor, Titus, destroyed Jerusalem in 70 AD. From Augustus to Titus, these can be identified as the 7 heads attached to the body of Satan. Between the 5th Roman emperor Nero and the 6th Roman emperor Vespasian, there are 3 rebels, Galba, Otho, and Vitellius. These individuals vied for the position of emperor around the time of Nero's suicide, but due to infighting amongst themselves, none of them lasted even a year before they perished. Eventually, General Vespasian rose to become the 6th Roman emperor. Therefore, these individuals, Galba, Otho, and Vitellius, these losers and rebels, do not qualify to be included among the 7 heads adorned with 7 crowns on the body of Satan. And it's also difficult to regard them as emperors. In the book of Daniel chapter 7, Alexander and his 4 successors, Cassander, Lysimachus, Ptolemy, and Seleucus, are represented by a leopard and the 4 heads on the leopard's body. The beast signifies the founder king, and the heads mounted on it represent his successors. If we look at it this way, Satan and the 7 heads on Satan represent Julius Caesar and his successors from the first, Augustus to the 7th, Titus. Jesus was born during the time of Augustus, and Titus destroyed Jerusalem, which perfectly aligns. Now, we must turn to the story of the beast mentioned in Revelation chapter 13. The beast with the number 666 in Revelation chapter 13 emerges from the sea in response to Satan's call. The 66th beast, like Satan, has 7 heads and 10 horns. However, while Satan has 7 crowns mounted on the 7 heads, the 66th beast does not have any crowns on the 7 heads, but instead wears 10 crowns on the 10 horns. This indicates a new power that will appear after the fall of the Roman Empire. However, it is not adorned with crowns. Then, what could it be, if not the papal system? It would be appropriate to view the 7 popes at the time nearing the second coming of Jesus Christ as the 7 heads of the beast. Well then, why don't the hundreds of previous popes matter, and why focus specifically on the last 7 popes? Why is it so? Pius XIX founded the Vatican City in the year 1929. Before that, there was the Papal States, which were abolished by the Republic of Italy in the year 1870. So the Pope was stripped of everything except for the Vatican Church. However, according to the exposure by the Jesuit agent Alberto Rivera, the Jesuits manipulated the Nazis and Mussolini to seize control of Germany and Italy. Pope Pius V took this opportunity to forge a concordat with Mussolini, who had become the leader of Italy and founded the Vatican City. What does this have to do with the Antichrist? At the time when Hitler's Nazis were massacring Jews, when the Soviet Union was spreading its wings, and the United States was gearing up to become a global empire, it would be nonsensical to say that this era had no connection with the Antichrist. The 7 heads of the beast are the 7 hills of Rome, and the great city that reigns over them is in the form of a harlot, meaning the Roman Church. The 7 heads are also 7 kings, and the beast is a king too, which ultimately means that the founder of the Vatican City, Pius XV, is the body of the beast, and his successors are Pius VIII, John XXIII, Paul VI, John Paul II, John Paul II, Benedict XV, and Francis, making it a total of 7. Among his 7 successors, i.e., the 7 heads, 5, Pius XV, John XXIII, Paul VI, John Paul III, John Paul II, have died, and 1, namely Benedict XVI, remained but passed away on December 31st, 2022, leaving only Francis now. It was said that the 7th, would only stay for a short time, and the beast with the number 666, the Antichrist, is one of these 7 heads and is the 8th king. Since Francis is one of the 7 heads and the 8th sovereign of the Vatican City, it is now necessary to calculate the number of Francis's name. The beast, which existed before but died and appeared again, is one of these 7 heads, and being the 8th king is precisely Francis, the 8th sovereign of the Vatican City. The name Jorge Mario equals 6666 in English gematria numerology, and his family name, Bergoglio, equals 6666 in ASCII code capital letter numerology, which cannot be a coincidence. first successor of Julius Caesar was Augustus, and it was during his time that Jesus was born. The fifth successor was Nero. Nero committed suicide, bleeding from a fatal wound, but failed to recover and died. However, during the reign of Pius XI, the first successor of Pius XI, who founded the Vatican City, Israel was resurrected and reestablished. The fifth successor, John Paul II, was shockingly healed after sustaining a fatal gunshot wound, which was proclaimed to be the miracle of Our Lady of Fatima. Consequently, the whole world worshipped Our Lady of Fatima and paid homage to the Pope. This is all connected to Revelation 13 in the Bible. Please read Revelation 13 again. So, the beast that was before is the red dragon Satan with 7 heads wearing 7 crowns. And it represents the founder Julius Caesar and the 7 successors of Julius Caesar, which are from the first Roman Emperor Augustus to the 7th Roman Emperor Titus. Being dead yet still in the bottomless pit means that Satan Lucifer, who secretly ruled the Roman Empire, is still in the underworld. The appearance of this 7-headed beast, again, signifies the time of Adolf Hitler, with the founder of the Vatican City-State, Pius XI, and the Vatican City-State that Pius XI founded. The beast that reappeared is different from the previous beast, Satan, in that it has no crowns on its 7 heads. In Revelation 17, the angel says to John as follows, I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not, and yet is. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. John wrote the book of Revelation during the reign of the 8th Roman Emperor Domitian. Hence, Satan with 7 heads wearing 7 crowns, representing Julius Caesar and the Roman emperors from Augustus to Titus, had already fallen into the bottomless pit and disappeared. The historian of the early Roman Church, Eusebius, wrote that although Emperor Domitian initially intended to persecute Christians, after summoning and conversing with some of them, he deemed the matter trivial and ceased the persecution of Christianity. Therefore, upon deep reflection, it is clear that the beast that will ascend from the bottomless pit and reappear in the world is not referring to the time of the Roman Empire, but is prophesying a future era,